This is the NFL Weekend Review Show on the Flex Network.
Going up, coming down, does he come down with it? Does Golden State have it? He's in the end zone, he has!
This is the Flex Network.
Unbelievable!
This is the
Romo
Flex
can't get the
Network.
front down!
Flex on them.
Run Zeke. Up the middle, he's gone. Zeke's gone. Goodbye, Zeke. Touchdown. Short yardage, pinched in. The dogs got out.
Flex on them, G.
Branding in the gun, third and 8. Crowd making noise. Manning 5 steps. Here comes the run. Taco's got it. That's an Eli taco. Low snap. He picks it up. He looks. He stands. He rushes. Oh, he's up the middle. He's running up the middle. Boom.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flex Network is here. I, for one, am Flex Mike here on these airwaves at Flex Mike 11 on Twitter. You can find me there. I was missing last week. I had a brief hiatus, but I have returned to retake control over these airwaves. The fellas did a fine job last week in my absence, so I appreciate that. The man to the right is the one, the only SnowMan. AJ at AJS Dead Snow on Twitter, at FlexNet_PW Elite, running the wrestling content for the Flex Network on Twitter. SnowMan, say what's up to the people.
What's up, everybody? It is another great week and another crazy week. Holy crap.
Correct. And then my man below me is at Cowboy Cam 11 on Twitter, Cowboy Cam on Facebook, breaking down all your Cowboys news, injuries, rumors, all of those things. Going live at halftime to vent about the Cowboys, as you've seen every game so far this year. So, Cowboy Cam, say what's up to the people.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank y'all for tuning in. It's going to be a great show, and I need my Dallas Cowboys to just keep doing what they're doing, losing these games. Give me my top 5 draft pick, please.
Yes, and they are on track to give you that top 5 draft pick. Right now, I believe they're sitting at the number 4 spot, which
Yes,
last
sir.
time they had the number 4 spot, they took Ezekiel Elliott, and then in the second round they followed up with Jalen Smith. So and then the next year I'm pretty sure they went like 13-3 or 12-4 or something like that. So not a bad swing of events and things like that. So I'm sure he's hoping those things are in the future for him as well.
Unfortunately, he is actually sitting at number 5 in the pick
well,
right now.
He'll get there.
Jets at 1, the Jags at 2, the Bengals at 3, Chargers at 4,
That's right.
and then Cowboys sitting at 5, and right behind you is your NFC buddy, the Philadelphia Eagles.
They are on their way. For the record, they're on their way. They would have surpassed the Cowboys in being worse than the Cowboys if they would have left Carson Wentz in there, of course. But breaking news this week has been that Carson Wentz has been benched and Jalen Hurts has taken over the starting role, which my man Cowboy Cam probably a little bit annoyed about, because he, as like myself, watching the 49ers or the Cardinals or the Rams struggle and just do things that are dumb and making their franchise and their overall team just look worse. We take a little bit of joy in that. We kind of delight in that. We want to sit there and bask in as to not get too crazy on wrestling, but as my guy, the one, the only Keith Lee says, bask in the glory. We will bask in the glory of our fellow division rival struggling. And Cowboy Cam there was like, man, Probably right. You're thinking,
I mean-
why did you have to start Jalen? You're going to be better.
Like, I mean, I'm not complaining though because they're going to send a rookie quarterback out there this week against the New Orleans Saints, one of the best defenses in the league. So I'm not necessarily complaining, but it was so much fun watching the overpaid, overhyped Carson Wentz.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
we got a little on. Yeah, he's basically there saying that Carson Wentz is overhyped, overpaid, all of those things. And Snow, and I want to hear you speak on this actually because they kind of talked about Carson Wentz being, they took 2 years worth of work and basically said that he was this great thing, right?
Yeah.
And they gave him this like elite quarterback status money. Like, yes, the Eagles won a Super Bowl, but he didn't take them through that playoff run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was just
It was right. It was situation and timing. He was at the right place at the right time to get that contract, to say the least.
yeah, for sure. Okay, Alex Torres in the house. He says, "Hey brothers, checking in. What's up? What's up, Alex? You know what? I got to give Alex some credit, and I wasn't on last week's show to be able to do that, but Alex called the Atlanta game against who did Atlanta just beat 2 weeks ago? Who'd they beat? Do you remember off the top of your head?
2 weeks ago, which would be week 12, they played actually 2 weeks ago, they were off 2 weeks ago on week 12. They were off.
Well, they didn't win last week because they were playing the Saints last week. So it was 3 weeks ago then.
Their last game, actually, do I have it? You know what? Let me just go to Hotlanta on
I would have
my
to
lovely
look.
phone right here. Oh, let's bring, the cam is back.
Sorry about that.
Raiders.
Oh, he says Raiders. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, last week was the Raiders.
Upset over the Raiders. And I'm sure Mama Snow's got a lot of strong opinions about this, but I'll say one thing.
Oh, we moved on from
Dude,
that. Like, ugh.
yeah. The Raiders, for as good as they've been really all season, have not been playing or putting their best foot forward over the last couple of weeks. I don't care what anybody says. Is Mama Snow coming in? I figured she'd be around the corner. But anyway,
sure.
Yeah. Well, when the siren goes off, we know she's in the vicinity. But
yeah,
here's the thing: the Raiders have not played well. They have not played well. They didn't play well against Atlanta for sure. That's probably the worst game you'll see the Raiders play in a long time. But they definitely didn't play well against the Jets. Oh, here she is.
Here's the thing. We discussed that last week. Raiders, they had a bad game. We'll go with that. They didn't play well. They had a bad game. Last week, this current week, they came back with a vengeance on the mind. To a point, they still won. They still won. They still got their win. They still got the win. But again, it was more along the lines of playing at the level of their opponents. Kind of like
I'm starting to believe the Jets just gave you guys a victory.
You know what? To say the least, this week I'm getting the soft kitty purr right now, just like good son for petting.
No, what she's doing is she's getting a handful of hair / rat tail area, and if you just say the wrong thing, she's pulling down, dude, and you're done for. That's what's going on right now.
Well, here's the thing.
I know for a fact.
The thing. Yes, the Raiders was a struggle game for the Raiders against an 0-12 team, but the Jets gave it away. I mean, you talk about a Literally.
For instance, if you were to look up all-time bonehead plays,
You would be seeing the New York Jets doing that against the Raiders by not blitzing. And
not only did they blitz, they did like a what do they call those blitzes? Those are like the
Cover
jailbreak
zero.
blitzes.
Yeah, they
No,
did.
it's
They
a
did not.
jailbreak
Oh,
where
yeah.
like
They did not
literally
bring the
everyone's
house.
going.
They did not bring the house. Like they left. They were like, just like, let's just see what they're going to do. I mean, we're ahead. We don't have to worry. Yeah, bad decision, Jets. Literally,
Right.
Jets.
That was a very bad decision.
Well,
Yeah, so what
That Thompson Auburn High School game at
Oh.
Bama Stadium.
Oh, yeah, just like the high school game that happened at Alabama over the weekend with
Auburn High School and Thompson High School.
yeah.
what was
one
that?
was
Explain that to me. I'm guessing I didn't see that.
so I mean it's on Facebook. I mean, apparently, actually, you know what? You could explain what happened, Mom.
So with like a minute 15 left, Auburn High School was playing the undefeated team of Thompson High School, and they had the ball, and they'd get the snap. They'd wait a few seconds, take a knee. First down, second down. Snap the ball, take a knee. They get down, they have to punt it. It gets blocked, gets ran back for a touchdown.
Oh, I did see that.
And is
I
now
did see that.
behind by 3 points, right? 2 points.
Yeah, they were down
3 points.
3-2.
They were down 3
yeah.
with seconds to go.
And at this point, they were, before the block kick, everybody was acting like this was going, the game was over. We got this in the bag.
So after the blocked punt and the return for a touchdown, Thompson lines up onside kick. It goes 10 yards. Auburn player doesn't touch it. Thompson player gets it. And they run back and they score to win the game at 0.
Yeah, I did catch those highlights actually now that you mention it.
Playing until the clock went to 0. And yes,
yeah,
at Bama Stadium.
Tough. That is tough. Alabama would never put any type of foot forward like that and look that bad. They would at least be like, we're running the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going to run the ball. They're not going to take knees in these unnecessary times. They're an actual team. Like they understand. I mean, Nick Saban's probably the best college football coach of all time. I mean, he's got to be all those national championships, all those wins, all that stuff. I mean, he's got to be. I mean, especially when you compile it with his LSU days, like, yeah, dude, he's elite status. So,
oh yeah.
Are we done talking about the Raiders, or are we still going on the Raiders?
Yeah, go ahead. I think we're good at the moment.
Snow. Actually, I want to hear one thing. If she were to describe, how the Raiders have been playing over the last I won't even say 3 weeks. It's really just like the last 2 weeks. Maybe Cam says 3, but I'd say 2. Describe how they've been playing just in a few words, because like to me, like I'm not a Raiders fan, obviously, but I just wanting to know like what in the world is going on, because you pretty much didn't show up against Atlanta, and then against the New York Jets, you essentially laid an egg. And you're lucky that the Jets basically jets themselves, because that's the only way they find a way to lose that game. So, like, give me a couple of words on just how they've been playing over the last couple of weeks.
Inconsistent, not up to their potential. Praying that the other team, screws up basically, and they get the win like they did with the Jets.
I'm with Mama Snow on that one. Yeah.
Huh?
I'm with you on that one, because you got to think about it. The Raiders played amazing when everybody had COVID. Like they played even better, and so now that they have a full team, they've not played up to their potential as good as they should be playing.
It's
Yeah.
like the guys that had COVID that were out, the other guys stepped up and showed that they wanted it and everything else. And then the guys that had COVID that come back, they came back and they're like, we don't have to work as hard. We got this. It's easy. We're okay. And not working as hard as the guys that busted their ass. Sorry.
Oh, you can say that.
When they,
You're
when
fine,
they
This
were
is
you're
not.
fine.
This is not.
When-
You know, we don't have children. You know,
when
this
they
isn't
were-
a little kid show. So
when they were
How do you
gone
know,
from
Snow?
COVID.
We could
So-
have someone that is a child watching.
do you see children on this stream?
Alex Torres, maybe.
I do not.
Oh,
Alex Torres
and
at
it's
Shots
good.
Fired.
Do the uprights, ladies and gentlemen.
So I think the guys that were out with COVID, they came back thinking that it'll be easy breezy for them, and they just haven't put in
The work.
the work to get it done like the guys that covered for them when they were out on COVID.
Preach, Mama.
Yeah,
Flo, preach.
and
Their head coach has
and
yet
now you have a
to
real matchup this
put
week.
them until they figure it out.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, I'm with you there. I'm just saying now you have a real matchup this week. You played Atlanta and the New York Jets in the last 2 weeks, but this week you have the Colts, and so that's a team that has,
Playoff
there's
implications.
playoff hopes there. They're in second place in their division, but they are a for real AFC playoff team. And if you were able to beat the Colts, that does a lot of damage for you in a positive way when we start to talk about wild card situations with the AFC, because
They're at 7
Las
right
Vegas, yeah, they're at 7. So if you want to make the playoffs, you got to start this week by smacking Indy right in the face. So
now. Mhm.
And hopefully
Now's
the
the
guys
time.
will realize that and pull their heads out of their butts and come to
Right.
want to play and want to win and not skirt by on a 0-for team like they did with the Jets and then lose to Atlanta, which they should have won too. So,
right.
it's definitely all up to them of how bad they want it, and I guess we'll see.
Mhm.
Yep, for sure. Well, I think we're done with the Raiders there now.
Okay.
Mama Snow
you.
called out the whole Raider Nation as a whole, and so they know what's going on now. They know that if
Mhm.
they don't take care of business this week like they're supposed to, then we know what's going on. But let's Cam, I want to
Oh,
talk
boy, here we
Cowboys with
go.
you in a minute, but let's get into the recaps real quick.
Let's do it.
Unless either one of you have any breaking news type things that you want to talk about from just over the last few days, anything that has come out, if you have anything to say.
I'm unsure if Des Bryant really retired from the NFL. I have no clue. I thought it might have been a heat of the moment. Him catching, them letting know he has COVID, but that's kind of it. That was like the most insane thing out of the whole week, which we had a lot of insane stuff going on. But yeah, I'm unsure if Des really retired from the NFL.
I'll say
Yeah,
this: this is one.
Go ahead.
This is one of those games or one of those weeks in the National Football League that is probably like, man, if you're on a bye week this week, this was one of the best weeks to be on a bye week because all types of crazy stuff was going on. I mean, you had teams losing to teams that shouldn't have been losing to them. You had teams being competitive that should have never been competitive. And just some crazy matches that were going on and just crazy stories going on. The only thing that I'll touch on real quick is the Des Bryant situation, dude. So according to Ian Rappaport, he had some COVID tests earlier in the week. Des Bryant, that is, had some COVID tests earlier in the week that were inconclusive as far as the results go, right? So they were like, okay, day of blah, 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 we're going to retest him. They pull him out of warm-ups for the game against the Cowboys. Test him, he tests positive, right? And to me, I'm like, man, this is the most just BS, ridiculous COVID, whatever you want to call it, thing ever, because it's like, okay, you pulled Des Bryant out, right? And Cam, I'm like you and the rest of Cowboy Nation, and I even know a lot of Ravens fans that were like, dude, we want to see Des put in Like, we hope that the Cowboys win, but we want Dez to torch the Cowboys for like 200, you know, because we want to see Dez do good. But there's just one of those things that it's like, okay, so you're going to pull Dez out. You're going to say Dez has COVID. Fine. He has COVID. He's out. But with all this contact tracing technology that the NFL has spent, these little monitors that they're having the players wear on their wrists and their ankles and all this other stuff, right? So you're going to pull Dez out. You're going to say that he has COVID. But at the same time, you're also going to say, oh, Dez wasn't around anybody else that could have possibly had COVID. Not a quarterback, not a receiver, a running back, a tight end. No one else has COVID. You're telling me that the entire week that Dez was around nobody. You're telling me that in warmups, when on the broadcast they showed Dez Bryant in a huddle with Lamar Jackson, J.K. Dobbins, Mark Ingram, Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown, all these guys. You're telling me that none of those guys fell under the umbrella of contact tracing. You have to be kidding me. This is fake. That's all I'm going to say.
Thank you.
I think you guys just nailed the nail on the head with this. It's just crazy. My crazy little thing, you know, besides when we get into the scores and everything and teams, literally today's announcement that, you know, just to, you know, show how crazy it has been for next week's primetime game, that the boys got yanked. Literally, the boys got yanked from the Sunday night game. Then they put in Cleveland versus the Giants.
So what you're saying,
as your
what
Sunday
you're
night
saying
game.
is that Jason Garrett just beat Jerry Jones in something. That's what you just told me. You told me that Jason Garrett is up 1-0 on Jerry Jones. That's what you just said. That's what I heard you say out loud. Okay, as long as we're on the same page.
Well, yeah, because think about this. The Dallas Cowboys were last week, or at least, you know, before 8 hours ago. We're going to be playing the week before Christmas game on Sunday night against the Niners in primetime slot to end Sunday. And then they get the axe and say, hey, you're getting switched to the Monday, or you're getting switched to the morning slot. We're going to actually put in a team that's actually in the playoffs right now and has a good matchup against Cleveland.
Sounds good to me.
New York Giants. That's kind of embarrassing right there, to say the least. America's team is not on Sunday Night Football next week. And instead, it's the Dog Pound and the G-Men.
I mean, hey, the Cowboys are boring now. They're boring, you know. Not only are they losers, they're boring losers. Like, it's not even entertaining to watch.
So what the crazy thing is with the Cowboys being boring right now, it's not that they're losing, right? Like, Cam, you're talking about right now. It's not that you're losing. It's that you're losing, and offensively, like even when Dak was healthy, right? You were like, okay, he might have like a weird quarter where they don't really do anything, but like those next 2.5 to 3 quarters, he's going to be going out there trying to throw for. He's going to be trying to throw for like 500-600 yards in a game. You know what I'm saying? But like now it's like it's real weird where it's like, man, like they're not even moving the ball. It's like, Tony Pollard returned the ball and almost scored on the kickoff, but like they settled for a field goal. Like, that's ugly. You got the ball in the red zone. He brought you the ball to the red zone. And yeah, we'll get into that in a second, obviously, but let's get into these recaps real quick. We'll stop. We're just going to stop in this first one because I know that Snow and I both have a couple things to say about it. The New York Giants rolled into Seattle and beat the Seattle Seahawks 17-12. It was by far probably the worst loss in the Pete Carroll era. The Seahawks managed 5 points for like 3.5 quarters for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, come on. I don't really know what's going on there. They were the Seahawks were stuffing the run until like the third quarter. You allowed Colt McCoy to come in and go 13 for 22 and only 105 yards, throw 1 touchdown and 1 pick, and beat you. Like, Okay,
Alfred Morris got 2 touchdowns. Alfred
dude,
Morris.
that's not even the thing, right? Like I get okay, it is what it is. You allowed a guy who hasn't scored a touchdown in like 3 years to come in and score 2 touchdowns. But that's not even the thing. The thing that bothers me most is the beginning of the season. The Seahawks are sitting at 5-0, right? We're going into week 6. We're talking whatever, right? Oh, Russell Wilson's MVP and DK Metcalf is this, and those two things can definitely still happen. But understand that like the offense was clicking and the defense was just all time horrendous, blah, blah, blah. Those two things, offense and defensively, have completely switched. The defense is playing really well right now, and they have been for the past couple of weeks. Outside of a few teams getting points in garbage time, whatever. Like when we beat Philly, they got some garbage time points the last minute or two, whatever. And the offense just has seemed to like they're like not figuring anything out. I don't understand what's going on with Taylor Lockett right now. That's really bothersome. Chris Carson's healthy. The Seahawks are playing the Jets this week, dog. Listen, if they don't unleash Chris Carson on the New York Jets, I'm as a fan and as someone who's loved the Seahawks for the longest time, if you just don't like Chris Carson is like one of those dudes, right? Like when you're comparing like players as being like freak athletes and just these monster type players, right? People look at DK Metcalf with his shirt off and they're like, oh my God, look at that guy. He's like 230 pounds and he runs like a 4.4. Like that's stupid. You shouldn't be able to do that, right? All these things. Chris Carson, as far as running backs go, is a freak of nature, dude. If you seen him with his shirt off next to DK Metcalf with his shirt off, Chris Carson would carry his own weight. Chris Carson's yoked. He can play the position. His problem over his NFL career at this point has just been health. That's all it's really been. But this is the week to show out. Like, I get sometimes you get into funks as an offense or a defense where just sometimes you're just like, man, today's not the day. Like, it's not happening. It's not working for whatever reason. We can't get in sync with this or with that. But you know, it's not like Russell Wilson had a bunch of turnovers or anything. We just didn't play well. Like, it's a combination of, you know, sacks. We had a guy that we activated off the practice squad to play tackle just in case. Well, guess what? He ended up playing like 70% of the game and was getting ran over every play. Russell Wilson is leading the league in pressures. Like, he's not leading the league, but the offensive line is the amount of pressures allowed per game on average. The Seahawks are leading the league in that. And so that's really annoying. And that has a lot to do with the lack of health. We've had a couple of guys out and we're supposed to be getting those guys back this week. And so that could potentially help. But I'll tell you, we're playing the Jets, dude. If there's ever a get right game, your get right games are when you play the Jets, when you play the Bengals, when you play the Jags, when you play the Cowboys. If you're drafting in the top 5, those are your get right games. You know what I'm saying? Like, if one of those teams that is drafting in the top 5 shows up on your schedule, those are your get right games. And so we're in a get right game week type of situation right now. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. Now's the time to get right. You lost to the Giants. It is what it is. And you just keep moving. You're 8-4 last time I checked. You're still perennially, you're still a playoff contender. You're still really in contention for that number 1 seed, no matter what anyone wants to say. The AFC's wrapped up as far as like number 1 or number 2 goes. It's Kansas City and it's Baltimore. Or I mean, it's Pittsburgh. It's Kansas City and it's Pittsburgh. No one else is in contention for it, right? But in the NFC, anything can happen. It could be the Rams. It could be the Seahawks. It could be the Packers. It could be the Bucks. It could be the Saints. You just don't know who it's going to be. So we have a few more weeks to figure that out. But I'll toss it to you, Snow. Give me your 2 cents. I talk way too long on that.
Dude, I mean, literally, you nailed it again. I mean, this was just a crazy week, to say the least. The Seahawks did not look like an 8-4 team this week. Like, this is a team that thought and played like a what's a good comparison? Like, I think that they played like a D3 team. You know, they had the mentality of playing a Division 3 team like Michigan and getting upset, getting punched in the mouth. You know, if you guys remember your college football history out there.
Appalachian State, baby.
Yep. They were thinking that this was just going to be a walk in the park. This was, you know, it's an NFC least team, and they're just going to smack them around. But no.
See, and here's the thing. Did I expect this type of game to happen? Yes, I expected it to happen, but I did not expect it against the New York Giants. I expected it to happen against the Washington football team because Washington is sneaky good right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And
I mean, we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, we will definitely get on that in a second.
But yes, the whatchamacallits are sneaky good, and the Giants, I said this last week, they are barely surviving. That's the thing in these games. Yeah, this is the first time they won 4 straight.
This is a cure to all the problems. We're gonna move on from this. This is a cure from all the problems. We just need Chris Carson to channel his inner. You can't really see it because of my green screen, but channel his inner.
The beast. We need the beast unleashed.
The shirt says beast mode. Okay.
Oh yeah.
The letters are green, so it's messing up with my screen here. But I'll tell you this: we need as much as the Seahawks constantly talk in the media and all that stuff offensively. Oh, we need to restore balance. We need to restore balance. I think that we have this game plan when we come into a game where we say let's restore balance, and we really push towards that balance, and we get a little bit of running success, right? We develop this running success, and then we're like, okay, now that we've ran 4 or 5 times, let's pass 8 times, right? And so we get into this weird funk, you know. Maybe there's a sack or a penalty or something, and then we don't get to like Chris Carson had 13 carries for 65 yards. He was popping off more. Yeah, that's definitely not enough carries. When we beat the Cowboys a couple of years ago, Chris Carson carried the ball 30 times.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me that double his carries, right? At that pace, let's double his carries. He goes to 26. 26 at 26 carries, he would have had 130 yards. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with 26 carries? What's wrong with 22 carries? Nothing. And so we've got to get Chris Carson going. He's a monster, and so we want to set going. But let's go ahead and move on from this game so we're not just hammering home on that. We'll stop on the Cowboys game. But let's talk about New Orleans Saints take care of the Falcons 21-16. Detroit Lions beat. Yes. Detroit Lions beat the Chicago Bears 34-30 after Chicago was really control that game. The Browns,
the Lions,
dude. The Browns beat the Titans 41-35 after the Browns were up like 41 to 32-7 or something. It was crazy. Jaguars dropped to the Vikings in overtime 27-24. Let's see. Las Vegas barely beats the Jets 31-28.
Oh,
they probably should have lost, but
yeah, they should have. But I found this very interesting about this whole game. The Raiders have not won on the road against the Jets since week 6 of 96. How is that for something?
Wow, dude, that's a stat right there if I've ever heard one.
Yeah. It's going to get more statty when we get down to a couple more games. I got a couple more that I found interesting.
Colts beat the Texans 26-20, and this was a game that was really telling for me from a Deshaun Watson perspective. Deshaun Watson just visibly upset more than he's ever been after a loss. There were some people that said they saw him crying with a towel around his head. And in a post-game press conference, he just said, "I hate losing," which he's absolutely right, dude. Like he went to Clemson. He won a national championship at Clemson. Like He was a baller, and so he knows what it feels like to be part of a winning organization. And so just to kind of be in that situation where it's like, man, I'm really the only one balling out. My best receiver just got popped for 6 games for PEDs. Like, this is very annoying. Actually, sorry, my best receiver was traded in the dumbest trade of all time. And then my second best receiver got popped for PEDs for 6 weeks. And then let's see here. And then the Rams beat the Cardinals 38-28. The Cardinals couldn't do us a favor. Appreciate that, though. Eagles lose to the Packers 30-16. Wasn't ever close from the get-go. Patriots just hammer the Chargers 45-0.
Oh, here's one of those stats right here. The Chargers lose, the 40 plus points for the first time since week 6 of 1973. How's that for some stat on your butt?
That's
since
tough,
73
dude.
of week 6 back in 73. That's just crazy.
I'll say one thing, man. Cam Newton was not good. He didn't even have 100 yards passing. Do you realize that?
He didn't need to.
Only
on
19 attempts, of course. He was 12 for 19, 69 yards and a touchdown. It was weird,
2 rushing
Cam
touchdowns.
1 yard run. And then
he didn't even have to throw it that much.
Yeah, he really didn't. The game was over pretty much from the get-go, but let's keep rolling here.
This is just crazy.
Reminder, Anthony Lynn's his coaching seat is getting really, really warm right now.
I would say it's pretty dang hot right now, actually, and it's about to spontaneously combust any second.
Because the only time
and if you don't know what spontaneous combustion is, it's when something just catches on fire out of nowhere. That's what spontaneous combustion is. So if there's any like weirdos out there or like people who are a little bit slow who don't really understand what I'm saying, that's what spontaneous combustion is. It's when something catches on fire. But Chiefs take care of the Broncos 22-16. The Broncos were actually up in this game for quite a while, and the Chiefs came back. Let's see here. Washington in the big upset of the week on Monday. They beat the Steelers 23-17. Not really Big Ben's fault, to be honest. He threw a pick late in the game, but it's because the D lineman's tipping the ball at the line of scrimmage. Cam, we've all said this all year. Washington's got a for real D line. They got Ryan Kerrigan. They got Chase Young. They got some rotational guys that can really get in there and do some things. So they're doing all right. Alex Smith, dude, I don't care what anybody says. Alex Smith just playing one single snap this year is comeback player of the year. I don't care what anybody says. And if you disagree with me, just go ahead and Google these exact words. Alex Smith leg. Google those words and you will understand why he's comeback player of the year. Alex Smith is 100% comeback player of the year. 31 for 46, 296 yards and a touchdown. Ben Roethlisberger throws for 2 touchdowns, goes over 300 yards, and has a pick. But it is what it is. Washington just plays tough, dude. They really do. They have this tough mindset, right? You're talking about Ron Rivera, a guy who battled cancer and beat it all during the season. This all happened during the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
He beat the cancer. And so it is what it is. And Washington's playing well right now. They're sitting at 5-7. They're at the top of the NFC East with the New York Giants, thanks to us.
And they still got to play against each other.
Yes, and Washington has to play us still, which will be a tough game. But, Alex Smith is playing winning football. When it's all said and done, Alex Smith is playing winning football. Cam, did you have something to say about that game?
Yeah, the Steelers are going to have to address their receivers dropping so many passes. I lost count of how many passes got dropped. Like, Big Ben was balling, and the receivers were not helping him at all. And especially if you don't have a run game, you got to be able to catch every single pass like you have to. They have no room for error. And that's why a lot of people were saying this was probably the worst 11-0 team that they had ever seen, because the Steelers can't run the ball and the receivers drop passes. So
Well,
they
yeah,
were bound.
they've been on the brink for the last couple of weeks, right? Like
Yeah.
since they played the Ravens last a few weeks ago, they've really been on the brink of losing. They've been pretty close. And that's why all these people are saying, "Oh, Pittsburgh's going straight to the Super Bowl," blah blah blah. They still can, but right now, if you were to say, "Hey, coin flip, who's taking it, Kansas City or Pittsburgh?" There's no way in hell I would choose Pittsburgh. I mean, I like Pittsburgh. I know you're going to choose Pittsburgh because Pops is a Pittsburgh fan, and you kind of have to. But the situation is right now you're looking at Pittsburgh, and defensively, Pittsburgh's doing everything right. They look good, but offensively, Pittsburgh is very mediocre. Like you said, they can't run the ball. Pittsburgh's receivers are in the top 5 for the most drop passes in the league. They're actually number 3. I happened to see that today when I was on social media, and so there we are. Pittsburgh needs to tighten some things up. I saw today that James Conner has been cleared and he will return to practice and he'll be good. He'll be good to go. He'll more than likely play this weekend. But let's go ahead and move into these last couple of games because Mike, I know that
with that perfect season now over, I mean, the 72 Dolphins are smiling. The 16-1 Giants, or sorry, the 16-1 Patriots were like, okay, we don't have to worry about someone going through. But with
you don't need to mention the Patriots because they were not undefeated. They were
16-1. They were not undefeated. The season except that Super Bowl, but with the perfect season over, the whatchamacallits win. That was the first win against Pittsburgh since week 12 of 1991. How about that? It's been a long time since the whatchamacallits have beaten the Steelers.
Okay, so then we move to Buffalo, San Francisco. Buffalo take care of San Francisco 34-24. Buffalo is now 9-3. San Francisco is 5-7. San Francisco actually doesn't even have a home right now because of Santa Clara County is not allowing any large gathering of sports or anything like that because of COVID. And
we covered that last week in the show. But again,
Josh Allen.
Things can change, between now and their last home game. So hopefully that can happen.
They could. Josh Allen threw for 375. Had 4 touchdown passes, and so San Francisco is not even close to being in that.
And I guess the Buffalo Bills home stadium is the Niners' kryptonite because the Niners are 1-6 since 2014 at State Farm Stadium.
To be honest, like let's talk about this for a second. If you're going to Buffalo, and this is why the 4 corners matter, right? When you talk about Arizona as far as being the Southwest, and you talk about Seattle being the Northwest, Buffalo, New York being the Northeast, and then Jacksonville being the Southeast. If you have to travel to any of the 4 corners, you're in trouble. That's a far travel. And then you talk about this. Right. And then you talk about Arizona, right? You go to the Southwest and it's super, super hot. You go to Miami, it's very, very humid. You go to Seattle, it's rainy and cold. You go up to Buffalo, New York, it's dry and freezing cold, right? You're really not like weather plays a factor, travel plays a factor, all those things play a factor. So if my point is you go to Buffalo, you're battling so much before the game even starts, and then you drop on top of the whole situation that Buffalo's defense is playing a lot better now.
So much better.
Josh Allen has a true number 1 in Stephon Diggs.
Are we talking dark horse MVP?
No, we're not. But
you sure about that?
Cole Beasley balled out. I am sure. I mean, he's in the conversation, but he's not considered. I mean, right now it's Patrick Mahomes
Yeah, that's
because
true.
everyone can't get over their man crush over him. I mean, he's got every
I'm
weapon
not.
known to God.
I have not.
I
I
mean,
have
it's
not been
ridiculous.
impressed. I have not been impressed this
I
season.
mean,
It's so
I'm not
funny.
saying I'm not being impressed, but I'm just in a situation where I'm like, dude, like I get that you guys love Patrick Mahomes, like he's
But
great, but like
that setup is amazing.
all the mechanics and the things that he does, like yeah, he has a running ability, but like, do you guys not remember Joe Montana? Like, do you not remember guys before Patrick
Steve
Mahomes
Young.
who did yeah, Steve Young. Like, there's like so many players that have done so many things that are very similar to Patrick Mahomes, but they're becoming so enamored with it because Patrick Mahomes is breaking records. Because now in the state of the NFL, running is not is as much of a thing as it was back in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. It's all about passing now. And so Pat Mahomes is out there balling out. Cam, you got something?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers kind of spoke on it in an interview with Pat McAfee. He was just like, "Do you guys not remember Brett Favre doing these things? You know,
True.
do you not remember Steve Young doing these things?" And also got to keep in mind there is a new generation of kids, people watching football now. So to them, Patrick Mahomes looks like this ideal guy. But us football guys, we've seen this done before. Like we've already seen this. So it's the benefit of him being with the Kansas City Chiefs that I think people ignore. I mean, you got the number one tight end, a top 5 receiver, one of the best play callers in the game, one of the best offensive coordinators in the game. So it's a lovely setup there in Kansas City.
Yeah, and it's not just that. There's a little bit of the thing that I kind of compare it to is like kids who really love basketball, right? Like newer NBA fans today tell you that little kids who love Steph Curry, right? They see Steph Curry play. Steph Curry's pulling up from 7 feet behind the 3-point line, shooting J's. And the number one thing I always tell kids, like I'm a coach, right? So like at heart, I can coach football and I coach basketball and all these other things, right? And so like I tell kids like, hey, that's great that you love Steph Curry, but realistically, until you reach kind of like an athletic prime, you're not going to be able to pull up from 7 feet behind the 3-point line. So you have to develop a short game, a mid range, and then the deep range and all that stuff. And you can work on that range in practice. But realistically, in a game, if you pull up a 3-point shot from 7 feet behind the 3-point line, guess what? Your coach is going to bench you. Like, that's just the reality of the situation, right? And so, like, these kids now, they're growing up watching the NFL and they see Pat Mahomes do all these no-look passes. Like, Cam, a no-look pass in flag football, that's a very real thing. That exists. But at the same time, understand, that's flag football. It's not the NFL. And so like kids growing up thinking that they're going to go to the NFL and throw flag football type throws, no look passes. Guess what? The only way you're going to throw a no look pass in the NFL is if you're Pat Mahomes on the Kansas City Chiefs with a loaded roster on both sides of the ball. That's the only way you're going to be able to do it.
Oh, you're playing Madden.
Exactly. Right.
But here's my little 2 cents about this. I mean, you're also remembering that it's the different time periods of the style of play. I mean, literally, you got to think Steve Young. How was the NFL going around in that generation?
Man.
Then you got Brett Favre. You got how everything was going for him, how the game is played for him. It's the same, and the same thing with Tom Brady and Russell Wilson, and it's just the different timing and how the style of play is and how it's evolving. It's the same thing as it was for, in the NBA. You can go back and look at, how NBA was played during Isaiah Thomas and, the Bad Boys era, the Bulls, and the MJ eras right there, the two back-to-backs. It's just the different styles and the different how everything was played at that time up until now. Because think about it, if you look at a basketball game now, you're seeing all these, crazy, Steph Curry's shooting out in half court, 3-pointers and, everything there. But if you go back and watch an MJ game back, either in his first run, either in the first run of his, three-peat or in the second run, you're seeing a vastly different style and more physical game, or even during Isaiah Thomas, generation and, the Larry Bird and the Magic Johnson, you're seeing, smash mouth, they're going to, lay the hammer down to now. It's a lot less, hammer. It's more
finesse, baby.
It's finesse, it's style, it's showmanship. So it's just all generational. And, it could also be the same thing said, with, comparing Jordan to, LeBron, Patrick Mahomes, compare him to Tom Brady, or, it's just different, apples to oranges kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's something to remember, right? The evolution of the athlete has really expanded over the years. I think social media has vastly played a very large part in that. Now you have access to pretty much anything anyone says. We were talking about Des Bryant earlier, right? Des Bryant being a very emotional type of guy and tweeting all these different things. Now you have access to that, right? I learned something today. There's this podcast that I listened to that is hosted by Brandon Marshall, Chad Ochocinco, right? It's called I Am Athlete. Yeah. So in this week's episode, they had Hugh Jackson on there, right? Was a longtime assistant with the Cincinnati Bengals when Chad Ochocinco played there, Chad Johnson. And then we know him from Hard Knocks. He was the head coach of the Cleveland Browns for 2 years. And so we learned that they went 0-16 with Hugh Jackson. Is that what it was?
Yep.
Yeah. And so, yeah, but it is what it is, right? So Hugh Jackson was on there and he was talking about a few things. He talked about the character of Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson. That type of character doesn't exist anymore, right?
No.
So here's a little nugget for you in case you haven't listened to it, and maybe this will pique your interest to listen to it, right? Chad Ochocinco was on there and he said, this is before the days of social media, right? He said, I used to call Hugh Jackson at 2:00 in the morning, Saturday. Well, I guess technically early Sunday morning. He's like, I would call Hugh Jackson and he would answer, because this was back in the day when everyone had house phones, right? And I would call his house phone and he would answer it. And you would have to, because you don't know if it's an emergency, right? And so like he would answer it and Hugh Jackson's hello at 2:00 in the morning, and Chad Johnson would just say, I'm open, just to let him know. He would just let him know, I'm open right now at 2:00 in the morning. I'm open right now. And meanwhile, Hugh Jackson's thinking in his head, dude, we got position group meetings in like 5 hours. Why are you awake? Number one. And number two, why are you calling me? Right. And so like that type of mindset doesn't exist in today's football. I feel like Carson Palmer, when they did the NFL film story on Chad Johnson, he was quoted as saying Chad Johnson could be in a phone booth with 2 defensive backs and he would just be screaming, telling you about how wide open he was. Right? Those types of guys don't exist. So you need to understand the evolution of players, the evolution of the passing game in today's football. And so obviously a lot of things change, right? And so
dude, I can only imagine, again, back to that phone call at what, 2:00 in the morning, like what the hell?
Yeah.
You gotta think this was back, before social media and cell phone, these cell phones. Current generation cell phones, you had to pick up the phone to be like, you had to either pick up the phone or you're just sitting there letting it ring or until it hit the answering machine.
Can't ignore it.
And answering machines, and it like hey, this is what we're leave your phone and number, and then all of a sudden it's
I'm still open.
I'm still open. But at that entire time you're sitting there just listening to this ring, ring, just like, okay, I'm awake now, dang it. And pick it up and like, hello.
Oh,
Bro, you know what? And I bet it's not even that. If I'm Chad Johnson, 1, I'm still leaving a voicemail. 2, I'm gonna call you till you answer. Both those things are happening.
That's even worse.
yeah, I'm gonna call you the answer.
Anyway,
like,
okay,
unplug
let's
it
move
and
on.
toss it.
Let's move to our picks for this week. Okay, we're gonna move on to our picks. We're gonna get this thing situated here. We got basically another 30 minutes, and we're gonna bring it home here. Okay, so
Yeah,
Wait,
and another week.
8-5 this week.
Yep,
What'd you say?
Mr. Cowboy Cam went 8-5, and Mr. Mike
Puts Mike in the lead.
for
Is that 5 weeks in
not
a row?
not a 1 time, not a 2 time, not a 3, not a 4. He's on a 5-week streak of whipping people. Literally, he's on a 5-week streak of wins.
Hey,
Oh yeah,
shout out to Booker T.
He's a
Shout out to
5-time winner right now.
Hey, he let all of us. The Seahawks let all of us down. Anyway, but shout out to my guy Booker T for 5-time champ.
But what's even more impressive is the fact that Mr. Mike is sitting in first place in the season by 1. He is up. He caught the Cam.
So Cowboy Cam is 120, 69 and 1. I'm 121, 68 and 1, and Snow's a few games back. But we're all right there. 114, 75 and 1 is where SnowMan is. SnowMan tends to be a little bit of a homer and root against the Rams and the 49ers and all that stuff at all costs. And so that's kind of probably the difference between me and him when it comes to that stuff. But
Hey, I pulled up my upsets, here and there.
You have. The last couple of weeks you've pulled out some upsets, but as far as season long goes, you have definitely ridden that homer train all the way to the house. So let's go ahead and move into Thursday Night Football this week. As we stand right now, Thursday Night Football is on track to play as far as we know. There's nothing crazy going on. And so we're going to go New England Patriots versus Los Angeles Rams. New England sitting at 6-6, Los Angeles sitting at 8-4. Los Angeles Rams favored by 5 points. I'm going to start with Cam. Cam, who do you have in this one?
I hate you for starting with me because this is really tough. My heart is screaming, take the Patriots. My heart is just like, do it. Cam Newton and that offense is somehow on a roll. But I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to take the Rams. No, Jared Goff, I don't trust you still. I don't trust you against Bill Belichick at all. But I'm going to pick you this week. So give me the Rams over the Patriots.
Okay, Snow. Cam takes the Rams. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting game to say the least. The Rams coming off a win off the Cardinals this past week. And the 3-headed monster that is called the NFC West is shrinking down to a 2-headed monster. As much as I want to give an upset to the Patriots and grab my musket and go ram hunting, I feel like the Rams are just going to have a little bit too much, and they see the a potential NFC West. I mean, they're sitting at top right now, tied with the Seahawks, up there at 8-4. So if they need some cushion room before they get into their last 2 games of the season in the division. So I will join Cam, and I'm going to be, shooting a movie backlot with them Hollywood Rams.
Okay. I think what is it? Jared Goff is due for a stinker, a multi-interception game. I think that New England is absolutely in a situation sitting at 6-6 where they have to have a win. Like They absolutely need a win in order to make the playoffs.
Yep.
Buffalo's sitting at 9 wins already. We already talked about that earlier. Buffalo's balling, and New England has to keep pace, right? Not only is Buffalo balling, I mean, the Jets obviously aren't balling. The Jets are winless. But we're in a situation now where New England's got to win. So I'm going to take New England right here. I'm calling New England for the upset. I'm not happy about it. But I'm going to have to kind of roll the dice here for a second and take New England in this one.
Okay.
So you guys went Rams. I'm going New England. Let's move on. We'll go next. We'll go Jets versus Seattle. Is this a hand raising situation?
Yes.
Are we
All in
raising
favor?
hands? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
We're all going Seattle. Just so you know, the game is 3:05 here in Texas, which is that's a 105 start in Seattle.
Yep.
Um,
CBS, the home of the Super Bowl
on
this
CBS,
year.
correct. But Seattle's favored by 13.5 points. So for argument's sake, does Seattle cover? I'll start with you, Snow. Tell me, Snow.
You know what? I want to say, just for the sheer fact that they let the Giants come into the house and they gave up this bad taste in all the Seahawks, mouth. I think this might be the come to Jesus meeting for the Seahawks and realize, you know what? We need to buckle down. We need to get things back under control. We're right there at the doorstep to getting back into our, form, and we need to get into playoff form as we're rolling along. So they need these games right now to keep pace with those Hollywood Rams. So this is the come to Jesus moment. And if they don't rise to that occasion and get back to their winning ways, especially with 4 weeks left in the season, this is going to be a very tough Seahawk to not pick them going forward into the playoffs, or let alone even have a feel of they're going to get far. So this is the moment.
Right. Cam, what about you? Toby Maddox here is actually saying, Toby, first of all, thank you for joining the show. Toby Maddox is saying taking the Jets in a trap game.
Okay, I wouldn't do that. I don't think Seattle's gonna cover, because I think we all know the Jets are tanking on purpose. All right, we know that. I believe
you just watched the Raiders game from last week, and you say, "Oh, the Jets." You're like, "We're the Jets. We're winning." But hold on,
let's tank and then and also fire our defensive coordinator.
Oh, I know they paid him. I know that owner had to slide him some money. We're like, "Hey, we appreciate you, dog. For throwing that game. Here's some money for you." But
the nucleus behind the Bounty Gate scandal. The nucleus behind that is one and only Gregory Williams.
Wait. So basically, the Jets are saying,
Well, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
I believe this is going to be an audition game for Sam Darnold. They're going to try to make Sam Darnold look as good as he can, but make sure they lose the game. So, no, I don't think that the Seahawks cover.
Okay, I'll say this. Number one, their only weapon, Jamison Crowder. Okay, He's good. I'll give you that. But on 80% of NFL teams, he's like their third receiver. Okay, understand that, because remember when he was on Washington. Remember when he played for Washington, Cam? I know he was a third receiver. Okay, thank you. As long as we understand that. And then understand another thing. Frank Gore, their best running back, concussion protocol. We don't even know if he's going to play. So we'll see. And you know how I know that? Because he's on my fantasy team, unfortunately, because I didn't draft running backs well. I drafted way too many receivers and not enough running backs. Anyway, but we'll talk about all of that stuff later. But the Raiders have issue. I mean, not the Raiders. Geez, I saw Mama Snow's comment from earlier when she said Raiders. The Jets have issues outside of outside of just being bad on paper, obviously. So we'll move on from that game. We all went Seattle. Let's go. Houston sitting at 4-8, taking on the Chicago Bears, sitting at 5-7. This is a noon kickoff. Pacific Northwest time is 10 a.m. East Coast time is 1 p.m. We're talking Houston favored by 1 point. Snow, I'll start with you.
Houston, Chicago. You know what? Houston, Chicago. This one, Houston. I feel like they've fallen off the wagon and they've been left in the dust. And the Chicago team right now, yeah, they're all on the same boat. It's a struggle game for these two, but Houston's 4-0 against Chicago all time. You know what? I'm gonna pull a trigger here. I'm gonna ride this Texan. So give me Houston.
Okay, Cam, what about you?
I'm gonna go Houston as well. I picked the Lions last week against Chicago, and that paid out dividends in my end. Deshaun is balling. Deshaun Watson is balling, and so I think he's gonna make Chicago realize once again, you shouldn't have passed on me. You should have picked me, but you picked Mitchell Trubisky, and he's going to make them pay for it. Give me Houston.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I was kind of hoping that both of you guys would choose Chicago for some reason, but yeah, I'm right there. Houston. Like I mentioned earlier, Deshaun Watson was visibly upset during this last week's game. Mentioned in a press conference that he hates losing. I really like Deshaun Watson. I have ever since he was in college. I first heard about him when he was in high school, actually, once he had committed to Clemson. But yeah, I was just really excited. Big fan of Deshaun Watson. If we didn't have Russell Wilson, I would really want Deshaun Watson on our team, to be honest. But yeah, I like Deshaun Watson, and so I'm gonna roll with Houston on this one. They're a 1 point favorite. I think they're actually going to do more to cover. They're going to cover, and they're going to do better than that 1 point. I think they'll probably win by 4. Go ahead, Sam.
Mike. This is for the next one because I'm pretty sure I think I know where you're going to go with this next game. If you're going to go to Cincy next, are we going to Cincy next?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this pick.
Iceberg, right ahead. Thank you.
Oh my God. Go, Kenny, we're bastards.
This is going to be a very disastrous pick for all a question.
I'll start this one because I haven't gone first yet, but I'll say we're going to go the Dallas Cowboys sitting at 3-9 are taking on the Cincinnati Bengals, who are as close to 3-9 as one could possibly get. They're in 2-9-1. Dallas is favored by 3.5 points, right? Everything inside of me wants to choose Cincinnati, and if Burrow was on the team, I would absolutely choose Cincinnati.
Burrow's playing, I'm picking Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cam, as a diehard, lifelong Cowboys fan, would choose Cincinnati still this season. But right now, I'm choosing Dallas because the guy that's quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals is just flat out not getting the job done. Joe Mixon's not playing. AJ Green has been ruled out for the rest of the season. Not that he's really done anything to begin with. They still have Boyd and they still have other guys and stuff like that. But right now, I got to go with Dallas. Plus, you're talking Andy Dalton, right? Cincinnati releases you. You got that little dynamic with Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton's going to come out and throw for 300 plus. That's just my weird feeling. And he hasn't done it all season against any team, but I feel like if they were going to do it against a team, it would probably be this week against Cincinnati. I'm taking Dallas on this one, and Snow, I'll go to you next.
Why me? Why me? I don't want to pick this game. I don't want to.
Dude, you're being theatrical over there. Okay, I gotta go to you next.
Dude, this is the worst game to pick.
It's not. It's not
Literally, you have. I mean, at least with other games, I mean, like the Jets. You know that there's no way we're gonna, not pick the Jets. There's some other games that'll be like, oh, you know what? They're kind of doing okay. You'll pick them, but someone. This is just a disaster game all the way around. I mean, if I've not said this before, I'm never picking Cincinnati again. And it's the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, literally, the team that has literally fallen off the wagon. Actually, the wagon's been broken, and Cam is sitting in there with no rims on the wagon. It's just so bad.
Enjoying some sweet tea while I sit there on that broken down wagon.
Yeah,
hey, that's sweet tea that is blessed
Being
by
told.
the Lord Himself, dude. You got that Chick-fil-A sweet tea over here.
Like I said, look, I don't know if y'all caught this, but I said the football gods do not want the Dallas Cowboys to be great. The football gods are like, y'all are gonna pick top 5 no matter what. So Snow, go ahead.
Oh my God! Literally, as much as I so badly do not want to pick, you know what? Screw. I'm not even gonna. Dallas, give me Dallas. I cannot pick Cincinnati. This is a lose-lose either way. I mean,
yeah,
it's just that
right.
bad. Help me.
Well, I can't help you in this one. It's my turn. It's my go. If the Dallas Cowboys lose this game, it'll definitely show me that they got their eyes on Justin Fields. I believe that there's no way you lose to Cincinnati without Joe Mixon. Even though our run defense is terrible, there's no way, Giovanni Bernard goes for 150 yards on us. But I could be jinxing it because you never know with these Dallas Cowboys. This defense is so bad. So bad. Our defense is so bad, man. Historically bad. It's hilarious. But no, I'm going to take Dallas. I'm with Mike on this one. I believe Andy Dalton has a great day. Cincinnati doesn't really have a pass rush. Their secondary so-so. So CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper should have a really good day against the Bengals.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I have a terrible feeling about this. Toby, I see you, Toby. GB putting up 120. See, even he said it. Giovanni Bernard is going to put up 120. Look here, I wouldn't doubt it because the Cowboys can't stop the run to save their lives.
Thank God we got done with that pick. It is just, I mean, I literally, I got nothing for this. If this was a completely different Dallas team, I would feel great about my pick. If this was a completely different Cincinnati team that didn't have a tie in their midst with Philadelphia, of all people, then I would feel different about it. But of course, it's literally just two teams that you pick them and they do the opposite. They lose. You don't pick them and they win. It's like, what's going on?
Yes.
Hey,
that's
do
exactly how it is.
Do you guys remember the glory days of the Cincinnati Bengals running back core? It was Giovanni Bernard and what I referred to as the law firm, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, dude.
Man, what a duo.
Those were the glory days of Cincinnati running backs. Like, I loved that. Just being able to say out loud Ben Jarvis Green Ellis was like the highlight of my life. Like, seriously, just being able to say that stuff was so awesome for me. Okay.
It was also so funny hearing like Cowboy fans go, "Oh, Andy Dalton never had a team up in Cincinnati. I was like, did you not watch the Bengals? They had a team up there. You don't make the playoffs in that division without a team. Like, come on now.
Bro, do they not remember when what was his name? Vontez Burfict was in the middle, straight smashing dudes, paying his whole salary every week because he was getting fined by the NFL for illegally hitting people. Dude, Vontez Burfict is the reason that Antonio Brown went off the rails and started doing all the crazy stuff he did because he smacked him so nasty and gave him these concussions that caused him to go crazy. Cam's trying to hush me over here because I'm speaking too much truth, dude. Like, Antonio Brown went wild because of Vontez Burfict. People don't realize that. Vontez Burfict hit Antonio Brown so hard that he lost life to his body for at least 12 seconds. Like, people don't realize that. Do they also not remember that an old man by the name of Adam Pac-Man Jones, former Dallas Cowboy, was straight boxing people in an airport, dog. He was straight boxing people in an airport and then showing up on Sunday to play for the Bengals. Dog, do you not remember that? Dude,
and then also going down to TNA.
If I was a judge in a court, if I was a judge in a court right now, I would take my my gavel or whatever they call it, and I would and I would slam it down because case closed, dude. Case closed 100%. Just it's over, right? It's shut down. Everything's over. Adam Pac-Man Jones is a dog. Adam Pac-Man Jones is that kid that you knew growing up who, when you would play pickup football in the park in the hood, he was the one that would show up in house shoes and skinny jeans on and ball out with a cigarette in his mouth.
Yeah. And then go down to TNA Wrestling and win some World Tag Team titles.
Yo,
exactly,
dude. I
dude.
forgot about that as well. Yeah. Forgot about that one too.
He's back, Mr. Pac-Man Jones.
Oh,
dude, my boy,
God.
hey, Cam, my boy Toby Maddox right now is picking up everything that we're throwing down. He gets the context of everything. But anyway, listen, we gotta move on from these.
Let's get out of the cesspool of the bottom of the barrel, please. Let's get out of this.
Anyway, okay, let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs sitting at 11-1, taking on the Miami Dolphins of 8-4. The Miami Dolphins, as Snow has said earlier in this season, the thorn in everybody's side.
Not anymore.
Kansas City's Not anymore. You're right. But Kansas City's favored by 7 points. So, Cam, we're going to start with you this time. Kansas City, Miami, noon kickoff here in Texas. Kansas City favored by 7. Who you have in this one?
Why you pick me first?
Because I'm rotating it, dude. I got to go to you first.
Because this is a trap game, all right? We all know that Dolphins secondary is very nice. That Dolphins secondary is very nicely built with Byron Jones and I believe it's Xavier Howard. I think that's the other corner.
Yeah. Xavier Howard is also leading the league in interceptions with 8, I believe.
And nobody throws at Byron Jones. But I don't trust the Dolphins offense just yet. This is a big boy game. This is a big boy game. I don't trust the Dolphins offense just yet. But if they win, I'll be extremely happy. But give me the Chiefs on this one. But I don't think Patrick Mahomes has this great day. No, I think this is going to be a grind for him.
Okay.
Okay, Snow, go ahead.
Yeah, literally, this is going to be a very fun game to watch. KC is still looking to, get into the now that actually they're now trying to get into that first spot now because they're tied with Pittsburgh, at 11-1. So they're trying to get that first, round bye. Miami is, looking to stay in the playoffs and even go for an AFC East title. So this has a lot of implications right here in this game. I think this is going to be a hell of a game to check out, or even be at if you're down in Miami. Patrick Mahomes taking on either, the combination of Fitzmagic and Tua time. Oh, it's going to be a very good game. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to take gamble. I'm going to roll the dice because I'm going to Miami. I'm swimming with the fish boys. Give me Miami.
Hey, Toby, I'm picking up what you're putting down, dog. I'm picking up what you're putting down for sure.
I mean, either way, this is going to be this is going to be you can't. I feel like either way you're going to win. This is going to be a great game. You can't lose on either one.
I picked the Chiefs, by the way.
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm going Kansas City as well. I'm going Kansas City as well, along with Cam. I like Miami. I think they're a couple years away from really being competitive at that level that Kansas City's playing at right now. But I will say this. It wouldn't surprise me if Miami was oddly competitive during this game. So I'll just say that. But let's keep it rolling. Let's go into the next game of the week, which is the Arizona Cardinals sitting at 6-6, taking on the New York Giants, the NFC East leading, of course, tied with Washington. New York Giants. Arizona's favored by 2 points. I will start with myself. I'm going to take Arizona. I think that New York is not good. They beat us last week, but they're not good. They beat us last week after dude, you're telling me that if you hold a team to 17 points that you're not capable of beating them? That's kind of ridiculous, right? But anyway, I'm taking Arizona in this one because Arizona is going to be doing everything within their power to try and get in the playoffs. I mean, because right now they're kind of, I don't know if they're on the outside. Yeah, they're on the outside looking in, and so they have to win games. They absolutely need to win games because here's the thing you need to think about, right? Within the NFC West, one team is winning the division. One team is for sure making the playoffs as a wild card, right? And so NFC East, not the situation. If you don't win the division, you're not making the playoffs. Just plain and simple. NFC North, probably not making the playoffs. You would be a big time dark horse to make the playoffs if you don't win the division. NFC South, you are not making the playoffs unless you win the division. But the Saints have all but clinched that division.
Saints are in.
And then the NFC, I went north, west, east, south.
You forgot the least.
I talked about them.
Yeah.
I said,
No, I thought you were saving that one for last.
I talked about the east. I talked about the south, and I talked about the north. Yeah, we're good. So, but yeah, you gotta play with. Right now, if you're Arizona, you gotta ball out because you're the third team in the NFC West. And you're good enough. Here's the thing: if Kyler Murray's healthy, I think on any given Sunday you can beat anybody. I mean, it's the NFL. When you start to talk about elite guys, and Cam and I both kind of talk about this because we watched Kyler Murray play in high school and college, so we know dude is a baller. Dude didn't lose a football game in his career until he went to Texas A&M. Like, think about that for a second. But anyway, we are in a situation where Arizona is in a must-win game. I mean, what are we in? Week 14? Week 14, Arizona has to win this game if they want any hopes of being in the playoffs. So I'm taking Arizona in this one. I will go to Snow next. Arizona and New York Giants. Snow, who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, Cardinals, they're 2 games back in, with this 3-head, of course it's no longer a 3-head monster right now. Cardinals dropping, 2 games back between the Seahawks and the Rams. But I feel like this is going to be a Cardinal game. Who's Arizona's quarterback again?
Kyler Murray.
Thank you. Kyle Murray. Kyle Murray. I think he's just going to ball out, and I think the Giants are going to have a cocky attitude, thinking, "Oh yeah, we just beat the Seahawks, ha ha ha, and we're going home to host the Cardinals." Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a Cardinal gut check for the Giants, especially, for New York that's barely surviving. Let's emphasize this. They are barely surviving. And this Washington whatchamacallits, they're gaining big time steam over there in the least. So give me them Birds, give me Arizona.
All right.
And Cam wants
Let me
to go.
talk about one. Hold on, I'm gonna let him talk, but I just want to say one thing real quick. The New York Giants, right? They might be feeling themselves after beating the Seahawks, right? Here's what's crazy to me: the New York Giants have they have been a pretty good team defensively, right? You're talking about a Seattle Seahawks team. You're talking about a Seattle Seahawks team that struggled to get more than 5 points until the fourth quarter, right? But let's understand this for a second, right? Russell Wilson, who was under pressure all day because he had a true garbage, probably shouldn't even been a practice squad player, Chad Wheeler, playing on the right side of the offensive line in that game, right? DK Metcalf still had 5 catches for 80 yards with Russell Wilson having no time. The only thing worse than DK Metcalf having 5 for 80 is understanding that Kyler Murray's going to have a little bit of time. Elite elusiveness and agility and speed, and not to mention probably the best receiver in football over on one side of the ball. Not to mention a tight end who was wide open for no reason this last week for like 60 yards for touchdown. Not to mention Christian Kirk, who's a number 2 receiver there, who's nothing to talk any mess about. I mean, he is good. DK Metcalf went 5 for 80. Tyler Lockett went 6 for 63. And Chris Carson went 3 for 45 by himself. So if you're talking about an offensive line that gives Kyler Murray any type of protection, the Giants are in trouble. So I would just start here by saying, be careful if you're the New York Giants. Do not fill yourself too much because the Arizona Cardinals are coming to town. Cowboy Cam, go ahead.
This is gonna pain me to say. For one, I don't know how healthy. I don't know how healthy Kyler Murray is. That's number one there. An AC joint shoulder injury is nothing to laugh at. It's really hard to throw the ball, which is really the reason they kind of lost to the Rams. So they're going to play a top 10 defense, a defense that they're no joke. Like, they're nothing to laugh at. The Giants defense is legit. All right. I don't trust their offense, but one thing they are doing is running the football. And Arizona's defense isn't just, they're average. They're not a top. I think they might be top 15, but they're not a great defense.
They're 18th.
They're 8. Oh, see, so they're not even top 15. All right. Can Colt McCoy pull off another insane, impossible victory that he shouldn't? I'm going to say, yeah. Give me the Giants. I'm going to choose the Giants to upset the Cardinals here just because I don't think Kyler Murray's healthy enough to win this game. Gall the man. Yes. Gall. Wait, come on. Here you go. Tomei. Yes. Gall the man is nice. Also, Saquon Barkley, your job is on the line because everyone blamed this offensive line for Saquon, not having time to run and things like that. The Giants are fine running the football with Gallman and what's the guy's name? Alfred Morris. The Giants are running the football. So Saquon, your job's on the line here. But yeah,
dude, for the love of everything in football, intelligence is related. Do not do this to yourself, Cam. Okay? Saquon Barkley is a straight dog, and everybody knows it.
I've never been a Saquon fan. Look here.
No,
No.
just listen for a second. Saquon.
Time out. Flag on the play, traveling, offside, flipping. Hold up, wait a minute.
Listen, Saquon, the reason that people say that about the offensive line is because what are some of the things we love most about Le'Veon Bell, right? His patience as a runner, his ability to stand back there and be able to see pressure coming before it gets there, adjust as pressure shows up, follow his blocks, hit the holes, all those good things. Saquon Barkley does those things, but at a much higher level. Saquon Barkley is an elite runner, elite power, elite speed, elite tackle breaking ability. Okay. The Giants are not in a position to Saquon Barkley could end up on another team, right? He could, but Saquon Barkley is not in a position, or the Giants are not in a position to have a talent like Saquon Barkley because they do not have the offensive line talent as we speak right now. He belongs on another team, and that's fine. It is what it is, but understand that Saquon Barkley is very good, and people need to understand that. A lot of people are kind of like, especially I hear it from Cowboys fans all the time. It drives me insane. They say, "Oh, Saquon Barkley's not good," and the only reason they say that is because he draws comparison to Ezekiel Elliott, who the best back in the league is, all that stuff. Exactly as Toby Maddox says, Barkley's a franchise running back. He said he would trade Zeke and a first-round pick. I don't think the Giants would even sniff in Ezekiel Elliott right now. I mean, anything you see from Zeke right now, you don't want. The old Zeke, you would definitely want. No question about it. The Zeke that Cowboys fans are very familiar with, they would trade Barkley for that Zeke in a minute. But right now,
they trade
you would not trade that. No way. Barkley in the first.
Let's be clear, for the old Zeke, they would trade the house.
Yes, you trade the house for the old Zeke. I just want to.
But we're not even talking about. Listen, we're not even talking about any of that mess right now. Let's move on to the next game. Okay, we got the 6-6 Minnesota Vikings taking on the 7-5 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay is favored by 6.5. I'm real close to raising my hand on this one, but I know that Cam's a Bucs hater. That's the only reason I'm not raising my hand. Oh, you're in on this? Are you in on this, Snow? Are you in on this hand raising for the Bucs right now?
The Vikings don't have a pass rush, so it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, if this was
here we go. We're talking
hold
about
on. Let me get before I raise my hand up. If this was a Minnesota team that was a little bit closer to the Packers, I would not be I would be, feeling that this would be, I would not be raising my hand. But because the Vikings are, at 6-6, they're 500. I mean, they're 3-1 in the division, but I feel like the Packers are taking them away, and the Vikings are just looking to sniff that last spot in the NFC playoff picture and trying to survive. I'm gonna go with you guys. Let's all swing some swords and hop on board the Jolly Roger because we're swinging pirates, baby.
Oh yeah, and not to mention just what you said. Obviously, Minnesota obviously not being that great. Dallas beat them a couple of weeks ago, I believe 2 weeks ago. But understand this real quick. Tampa Bay is in a very real. They got a problem right now, right? They brought in Gronk, they brought in Tom Brady, they brought in Antonio Brown. They've really been bringing in anyone that they can think of to bring in. Tampa Bay, I don't even know if there's a Tampa Bay fan out there right now, but what I will say about this is Tampa Bay is in a very real situation. The number one seed as we sit right now is the New Orleans Saints, right? They're in the same division as the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Tampa Bay Bucks are sitting at the number 6 spot, which tells you what? It tells you they're the first wild card team, okay? Tampa Bay is in the wild card picture. They absolutely need a win right now. They need to win. They need to win out if they want to be competitive. Seattle's in 5, right? So the best case scenario is they can jump to that 5 spot. They absolutely have to get to that 5 spot to prove any type of dominance. Chris Godwin is a GOAT as far as receivers goes, and Tom Brady doesn't even look his way. Dude, look at Chris Godwin's stats from last year in comparison to this year. Last year he had Jameis Winston. This year he has Tom Brady. So let's understand that for a second. He's not even utilizing the guy that he has. Gronk is on the field. He doesn't even use Gronk, dude. He uses only Mike Evans. It's really kind of ridiculous. So we're all going Bucks here, but understand that we're not high on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We just think that Minnesota is really not good. Minnesota has no pass rush. They really only have Dalvin Cook and Adam Thielen. They don't have anything else.
I'm not gonna lie though, man. Dalvin Cook could beat the Buccaneers by himself. Yes, Toby. Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so Toby says them picking up Antonio Brown ruined their passing game, in my opinion. Yep. I don't know if it ruined it, but I think it really changed it. It changed it in the aspect of it adds another puzzle or adds another piece to the puzzle that didn't necessarily need to be there, right? Tom Brady already has pieces there that he's not utilizing. Like I mentioned, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, and he kind of has been using Gronkowski a little bit more over the past couple of weeks or whatever. But they're coming off of a bye, so we'll see what they look like. They've just too much time to prepare for Minnesota, who's already not a good football team, and so we're all riding with the Buccaneers on this one. But let's go ahead and roll the next game. Next game, we're going to go the Denver Broncos sitting at 4-8, taking on the Carolina Panthers, who are also at 4-8. There's no line on this game, which tells you that it's even. So, you're raising your hand for something? What are you raising your hand for? Are you telling me the Carolina Panthers are gonna
time out? Let me be very clear about what my hand is about to be. I just want to double check. Do we know that the Denver Broncos have a quarterback this week?
We do know that.
Who's their quarterback?
It will be their main guy.
Okay. All right. I'm putting my hand down because I want because I just wanted to make sure that we were not going to get into a situation like last week where, well, let's see. Option A, no. Option B, no. Option C. Wait. Where's our quarterbacks, man? We got to go to wide receiver. Start warming up that arm. Mr. Wide Receiver. Yeah, I'm just making sure we were not going to get into that situation again.
Let's take a step back real quick now that we're still talking NFC South. But Toby said Godwin, Gronk, and Evans. Oh, and we'll be getting AB. I love that Tampa Bay wanted to get him right after being rocked by Vontez. But, exactly, because we were already talking about him getting rocked. But anyway, hey, here's the thing that's a little bit crazy to me. Carolina's in a situation where Matt Rule, coming out of the University of Baylor, who made an appearance in the Big 12 title game this last season, was fine, right? He's a good coach. I think that everyone can agree that Matt Rule has seemed to be a good coach. I know that the Panthers are 4-8, but they're in a little bit of a rebuild situation. But you look at Matt Rule and what's going on. Teddy Bridgewater, Christian McCaffrey's been hurt like 90% of the year. He's supposed to be coming back this week. DJ Moore has really asserted himself as a legit receiver in the NFL. Yes. And so, dude, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really riding with Carolina on this one. Christian McCaffrey's coming back this week. He's playing this week. He was practicing today, which tells me that he's playing. And so I'm in on that. Cam, I'll go to you next. What do you feel about this one? Carolina and Denver, they're even as far as the line goes.
It sucks because Drew Lock is my guy, and a lot of people are trying to count Drew Lock out. He hasn't played a lot of games for the Broncos, and so people are like, "Oh, the Denver needs to draft another quarterback." I'm like, but his completion percentage is the worst in the NFL. So I got to keep that in mind. No, I'm going to roll with Carolina just like you did. If the Broncos win, I'll be happy. I don't mind if they get a surprise win here. But no, give me Carolina over the Broncos, definitely.
Okay. Toby Maddox here says that Curtis Samuel has been getting me dubs in fantasy. So,
Wow.
yeah, that's something to write home about for sure. Curtis Samuel actually has been balling. He's one of those guys that's like he's like a Robbie Anderson type of guy where he's like really skinny. So anytime he takes a handoff, you're like legitimately worried about him for a second because if he gets popped by the wrong dude, you might never see him again. He might turn to straight powder and he just evaporate into the air. But he seems to be doing all right. So Carolina's definitely has some weapons. They're just in a little bit of a rebuild period, like I had previously said. But Snow, Carolina and Denver, who do you have in this one?
You know what? Carolina, has just been. I have not been trusting Carolina that much. And I've said it on here. I haven't trusted them. And looking at the last comparison, for Carolina, weeks 1 through 5, they were 3-2. 73.4 complete percentage, 292 yards passing per game, 6 TDs, 3 interceptions, and 101.9 passer rate. But the last 6 weeks, 0-6, a 67.2 completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. A vast turnaround for this Panther. And you know what? For some reason, I still do not trust this kitty. I'm pulling the trigger. I'm riding with this Bronco. Give me a Maha salute, everybody, because I'm going with Denver.
Wow, he did it.
He did.
You're crazy.
I'm pulling the trigger.
Snow, you want to know why?
Go ahead.
Okay. We're going to go next, okay? But understand this. We are in a hand-raising situation, a potential hand-raising situation. We have the Tennessee Titans sitting at 8-4, taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 1-11. Tennessee's favored by 7.5 points. Snow's raising 2 hands. Okay, I'm there with you, actually. I'm going to raise 2 hands as well. Okay, we're going to take Tennessee all the way home on that one. Okay,
let's be clear. If this was a completely different Jacksonville and Minshew was quarterback, I would be having my hand raised or not raised, but
yeah,
it's 1-11. Yeah.
Okay, let's roll forward to a very intriguing game this week. We have the 8-4 Indianapolis Colts taking on the 7-5 Las Vegas Raiders. Indy's favored by 3 points. As we talked about earlier, this is a must-win game for the Las Vegas Raiders because Las Vegas absolutely has to beat the Colts to kind of solidify some of their wild card AFC playoff pitcher situation, whatever you want to call it. I don't think that Las Vegas is quite ready for the Colts. I think they still have a way to make the playoffs. I do not think that they're going to beat the Colts this week. So I will take the Colts on this one just to kind of throw things up. To mix it up a little bit. I know Mama Snow says that she wants the Raiders to win. Or sorry, I put Toby's comment. Toby says if Rivers would play like he wants a ring, life would be better than wild card for Indy.
Thank you, Toby. Thank you.
I agree with Toby, but I also agree with Mama Snow. I think that the Raiders, they better pull their heads out. She's basically saying they better pull their heads out of their butt because Indy and Las Vegas Raiders both have the ability and the talent to win this game. It's just a matter of like, hey, is John Gruden a better coach than who's the coach? Frank Reich? Is that who the coach is?
Frank Reich, yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
Frank Reich is in Indy. That's a good coaching matchup, in my opinion. I think that both those guys are very good coaches.
Yep.
And so I'm gonna take the Colts just because I feel like they're a little bit further ahead. I don't know. I feel like Derek Carr is definitely better than Philip Rivers at this point, just because Philip Rivers is kind of like an old man, and like I don't really trust him ever. But I'll still take the Colts because I think their defense is better than Las Vegas. And Snow, do you have the defensive rankings up there? Because I would be very curious to see which defense is better.
Between the Colts and the Raiders?
Between the Colts and the Raiders. I feel like the Colts are better, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Raiders were actually better.
Defense, Colts are 5, Raiders 22.
Oh, gee. Wow. I was giving the Raiders a little too much credit, I guess.
Yeah, Raiders right now, offensive-wise, they're 15th, and the Colts are 13th.
Okay.
But here's the kicker. Here's the real two kickers.
Oh, they have the Colts have Darius Leonard, who's potentially a top 3 linebacker in the league. Dude is a straight baller. He's a killer, dude. Darius Leonard's great. It probably goes Bobby Wagner, Fred Warner, and Darius Leonard as far as linebackers go.
Yeah.
I love that you actually put respect on Fred Warner. Like, I love that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Dude, I mean, I don't respect him because he's a 49er. He's a piece of crap. But at the end of the day, all bias aside, like, Fred Warner is a baller, dude.
Yeah, here's the two kickers, though. Passing, the Raiders are 17th. Colts are 11th in passing. Rushing, Colts are 21st. The Raiders are sitting at 10 in the league.
Okay.
So,
okay. So I went Indy. I'm gonna go to Cam first because Snow's a resident. He's one of those weird guys that's got multiple like favorite NFL teams, and so I'll go to Cam, who is a true diehard Cowboys fan, but only rocks with Pittsburgh because his dad basically says he has to. As your parents have always told you when you were a kid, I brought you into this world, I can take you out, and so his dad probably tells him things about like you have to rock with Pittsburgh whenever Dallas is all the way out of it, and so he's rocking with Pittsburgh, but that doesn't mean that's his favorite team. But Cam, go ahead, tell me, who do you have in this one? Do you have the Indianapolis Colts or the Las Vegas Raiders?
Gosh, I've been putting my faith in this team for so long because all the Colts are missing is a great quarterback. That's all they're missing. And if Philip Rivers can somehow just step up to the plate and just get a dub, get a serious win here, the Colts will be sitting nice and pretty. I'm gonna do it. Give me the Colts over the Raiders. I don't like it because I have a lot of I like John Gruden. I love John Gruden. I love what the Raiders are doing. They're on the way. I don't know if Josh Jacobs is going to play this week. So that's what's altering my decision. Give me the Colts over the Raiders.
Okay, I want to talk about two things real quick. Number one being Mama Snow is on the airwaves here. She says so true, but understand that is in reference to I brought you into this world, I can take you out. So Mama Snow is threatening to take a young Eric Snow's life. He's very close. She's also saying so sad. Cam, you are her adopted son, and you are no longer adopted. You are back in the adoption pool because she does not trust that anymore.
Hey, Mama, I need this win here. I got to get this done.
Cam was riding high for a lot of weeks in the pick'ems, and now he's down in the dumps. I have surpassed him after my crazy 5-week emergence of winning 5 weeks straight, and so I've managed to pass him, close the gap a little bit. And Snow is right behind himself. Snow, I know you're going Las Vegas, but I want to hear why you're picking Las Vegas.
You got to remember something. Let's just be clear. While Indy is still in a fight for the AFC South, they're literally this is going to be they need these games right now to keep pace and to stay even with the Titans until they play them again. Actually, hold on. Do they play them again before we head out the season?
Who is
Maybe-
that? The Titans in
Titans.
Indy? I'm gonna
No,
say they play
scratch that.
one
Scratch
more
that. They've
time,
already
or
they
it might
split.
be over.
They've split.
Okay.
Titans, and so they have split. So, with that being said, Indy needs any game that they can to keep pace and hopefully win. They're gonna have to try to win their next two South games, and hopefully the Titans drop one, maybe two to get that AFC South and get out of the basement in the playoff picture right now in the AFC. But you know what? I still am riding high with Vegas, with the Raiders. I feel like they're going to get in and sneak into this playoff. There's going to be a team, again, we said this last week. I said this, I'm going to say again this week. Raiders have to play both the Dolphins and the Colts. And I feel like these are two games that the Raiders need to win to get into the playoffs and knock either one out. So, of course, my pick is just going to be saying beautifully by Mr. Berman. Because I'm rolling with the Raiders. Wow. And not only am I going to be rolling with the Raiders, but I feel like the Raiders are going to be...
We'll be rolling, owning, rolling Phillip Rivers.
This is the game they need. I'm putting the house on this.
All right.
So Toby Maddox here says the Colts have to win out, don't they? They do.
Yes, the Colts
they
have
do
to
not.
win out. Yeah.
Well, no, they don't technically have to win out, but if they want to control, their own destiny, then yes, you need to win out.
Yeah.
If you do not win out, the Colts will put their destiny into someone else's hands. I mean, you always hear about it. What the last 2 weeks of the season, or the last 3 weeks of the season, whatever they talk about. Oh, this team needs that team to win, and that team's got to win. And then they need to tie, and then all this other. We don't. If you're the Colts, you don't want any of those things to happen. You want to control your own destiny.
Mm-hmm.
You want to just win out, and if you win out, then all is good. You control your own destiny. You're going to be the 7th seed, and it is what it is. But you need to win out to be into this situation that you want to be in. Okay. Next, we have the Green Bay Packers at 9-3 taking on the Detroit Lions at 5-7. Green Bay's favored by 7.5 points. Cam and I are both saying aye. Snow, what are you saying?
Don't you do it, Snow.
I was getting in, I was getting the picks in. That's what I was doing. Detroit, yeah. Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay.
Yeah. Okay. So we're all going Green Bay across the board. There's literally nothing that Detroit's going to do to stop them. Okay. This is really another eye situation for me. You have the New Orleans Saints taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. New Orleans is favored by 7 points. They're 10-2. The Eagles are 3-8-1. Is there anyone that I'm with you, Cam? Saints across the board. Okay, we got Saints across the board. Just New Orleans is from top to bottom is just far more superior as far as a roster goes. And so that's a little bit frustrating. This is the one that's crazy to me. Okay. The Atlanta Falcons at 4-8 are taking on the Los Angeles Chargers at 3-9. Atlanta's actually favored by 2.5 points. So let's talk about this for a second. I'm actually going to take Atlanta in this game, and I think that Atlanta will win. I don't care if it's close or if it's by a lot. I think Atlanta's going to win, and it's going to lead to the firing of Anthony Lynn.
I am 100% with. Dang it! You took everything I wanted to say right out of my mouth. Yes, I'm rolling with Atlanta here, and we possibly can see Anthony Lynn fired.
Okay, Snow. What about you?
So you guys are all going Atlanta?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, this one's gonna be a trash game too.
I wouldn't say trash. This is It's gonna be some high scoring offense here, baby.
I know, but
Yeah.
still, it's two trash teams. That's all I'm saying. It's a trash. It's trash. No implications whatsoever. Nothing need be. You know what? I'm gonna play the safe bet. Give me the Falcons.
All right.
Okay. I want to address something real quick. Toby Maddox here has said, "Is Breezy meaning Drew Brees back?" Also, have y'all talked about
Yeah, I
Wentz
think
on the
he'll be
bench?
back.
I think he's
Hashtag-
back. No, I think he's back next week. I think.
Not this week. Not this week.
next
He'll be
week.
probably
Yeah,
be
next
back
week.
next week. And Toby, yes, we did talk about the Cowboys.
on
We
the
talked
bench.
about Wentz on the bench earlier in the podcast. We definitely did talk about that. Carson Wentz is on the bench. Jalen Hurts has taken his spot. Jalen Hurts literally averaged twice as much production as Carson Wentz did when he came in the game, with a small sample size, of course. But we will see what happens this week, of course. Okay, we all went Atlanta. Let's move on. We're gonna go the Washington football team at 5-7, taking on the Santa Clara 49ers at 5-7. San Francisco's actually favored by 3.
What?
I feel like that's complete disrespect. I'm with
Oh,
Snow.
yeah.
I'm raising my hand, giving Washington this win, dude.
Yeah, I'm
I don't know about you
Washington,
guys. I'm giving Washington.
Washington the dub.
So
yes. Okay.
let's be
100%
clear.
taking that one.
We're all hopping aboard the whatchamacallit train.
Yes,
we are.
Yes,
Whatchamacallit, which Snow, if you were in a spelling bee this very second and they said, Sir Eric Snow, please spell whatchamacallit, you would fail out of that thing so dang hard. It's not even funny. And the reason I know that is because I feel like I would be closer to spelling whatchamacallit than you would, and I would still get it wrong. Okay. And Cam, you know what? For the sake of argument, you would get whatchamacallit wrong as well. Okay.
Well,
Exactly.
I could
Toby
spell
in
it
here
wrong.
dropping heat. Toby is in here dropping heat. Alex Smith, comeback player of the year. Like I said earlier in the podcast,
Yes.
Alex Smith,
Yes.
even taking one snap on the field for the Washington football team, awards him comeback player of the year. 0 questions asked. He is 100% the comeback player of the year. Not to mention coming back and playing winning football. You know what I'm saying? I wish. Also, when people abbreviate Washington football team as WFT, I wish it said WTF. That would be so much better. But
I wish.
yeah, it's so close. Okay, let's move on. Let's go Sunday Night Football. NBC, the Pittsburgh Steelers at 11-1, taking on the Buffalo Bills in a big-time AFC heavy hitter matchup. Buffalo at 9-3. Buffalo's favored by 2.5 points. Let's go Snow. I'm gonna go you first, okay? Snow, who you got in this one? Buffalo, Pittsburgh.
You know what? For the fact that Pittsburgh just lost, and I feel like they now have the weight lifted off their shoulder, the expectation of going perfect. And
exactly.
They got their loss
Which
out
they
of the
weren't
way.
going to do the whole time.
They got the loss out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Now they don't have to worry about, we have to try to get the next 4 weeks out and try to, try to be perfect and then try to hold it all the way through wild card, division, conference title, and then try to make it to the Super Bowl and possibly do what the Patriots couldn't do and win the Super Bowl undefeated and join the 72 Dolphins in that perfect Hall of Fame right there. And the fact that Buffalo right now is fighting for positioning, to hold off them fish boys, the Miami Fish Boys right now. They're trying to keep those guys in their back pocket. It's going to be a very great fight. But you know what? I'm going to go with the upset here because I'm circling the wagons. Give me the Buffalo Bills. I'm rolling with Bills Mafia, baby. Up
Let's
in Buffalo.
go.
Let's go.
Okay. Okay.
I could just
Cam, go ahead.
I could just jump through my table right now, or I could slam my son through his toy table right now because we're stuck on
that's
the
horrible.
wagon, baby. Give me the Buffalo Bills. Oh, it's wild in here. My son's yelling in the background right now because we're going crazy. Give me the Bills, baby.
Hey, he probably heard you talking about slamming him through a table, and he wasn't down for any of that. He's not here for the smoke right now, okay? But listen, I'm there with you, dude. I think Buffalo has everything they need in order to win this game. I think they're very capable. And it is what it is. Toby chiming in right here. He says, "Slam your boy, drop him through that table, bro." So, anyway. Yeah, dude. I like Josh Allen. I like Cole Beasley. I mean, I like everything that that Buffalo's got going right now. Like I said earlier in the podcast, they're playing a lot better defensively. Yeah. Pittsburgh's really kind of struggling defensively, or I mean, offensively, to be honest.
They're one-dimensional.
Yeah, I mean they have Juju and they have Johnson, and they're supposed to get James Conner back this week and all that stuff. But they have Eric Ebron at tight end and all that. But it's like, man, they're just, as far as like watching them week after week, they just offensively they don't seem that impressive. And so let's go ahead. We all went Buffalo on that one. Let's roll to the final game of the week.
So just to be clear, we all hopped on the Buffalo wagon, so we are.
No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
All right.
Chris Berman, you are correct. Okay, let's go here. Let's go Monday Night Football, ESPN, Baltimore sitting at 7-5, taking on the Cleveland Browns, who are at 9-3. Baltimore's favored by 1. You know what? I'm going to start it out right now. I know you don't want to hear it, boys, but give me 44 points in favor of Cleveland. Cam giving me the middle finger because he's so mad. Okay, Cam, go next. You got the middle finger, dog. Go ahead.
Dog, oh, you're killing me. The one week I was gonna put some faith into the Cleveland Browns, and then you take the points I also wanted. That's kind of crazy. Give me I'm gonna go opposite of you because this is a tiebreaker pick. So give me the Baltimore Ravens, and I'll take 44 Baltimore Ravens.
Okay. Snow, what about you?
As much as I feel like this is going to be a very not really a passing game, but this is going to be a rushing game, I believe. It's going to be decided on the ground because it's battle of the top 2 rushing offenses. So I believe this can just decide who's going to have the most gas left in the tank by the time we get through Monday night. I'm going to go points wise. Give me 50. Give me 50. I'm going to go with an even 50 on this game. And I'm going to go. Man, I want to fly. I want to fly with you, Raven. Okay, I want to fly with you, but for this purpose of actually, and the fact that this is an AFC North game, both teams are sitting at 2-2. So if this is going to decide who's going to be sitting at 2 for the AFC North, and the Baltimore Ravens playing upset and knocking the Browns down a peg, and depending on what else happens, you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to say that Baltimore punches Cleveland in the mouth. Give me them Ravens.
Woo!
Okay, you guys both go Baltimore. I go Cleveland. Okay, let's handle some business here. That is it for our picks for the week. We are the Flex Network. Below me is the one, the only app, Cowboy Cam 11 on Twitter, Cowboy Cam Facebook page. To the side of me is the SnowMan at AJS Dead Snow on Twitter, also at FlexNet_PW Elite. On Twitter, and then also on YouTube. If you want to find us as a whole, we are the Flex Network. We are at the Flex Network 1 on Twitter. You can find us there. I am Flex Mike at Flex Mike 11, like it says here under my face. It says at Flex Mike 11 on Twitter. That's where you find me. Find us on Facebook. Like our page on Facebook, Flex Network. Just search the Flex Network on Twitter. We're right there. We're the number one thing that pops up. We're right there. We're flexing. Snow with the 1950s football jersey on is incapable of flexing like me and Cam here, but
It's there. It's there.
Yeah, it is there for sure.
It's there.
Okay. Find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you listen to podcasts on YouTube, which is where we're at, we're the Flex Network on YouTube. Find us there, subscribe to our channel. You click that little bell and you can get notifications for every time we go live or every time we upload something. You can also follow us on Apple Podcasts, the Flex Network on Apple Podcasts. We're right there. You can follow us on Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, any other podcasting platform that you use, we are right there. We're on everything. We are everywhere at all times. So follow us in all of those places. As for Cowboy Cam, myself, Flex Mike, and the man, the SnowMan, AJS Dead Snow, my guy, catch us next week. We will be recapping week 14 and looking ahead to week 15 of the NFL season. Next Wednesday, same time, same spot, we will be here. We will catch you guys later.
Peace out.